or presents The Buddy System.
This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
And this is Gwen Static.
Yeah, it's Orb, and Gwen is back.
Gwen is back, and you can get a picture next to her cardboard cutout for $20.
Gwen is back. We're really happy to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Love to be back. Love the show. It's been great so far. It's so weird to see people say that they did not give the show a chance until y'all made them do it.
We're what's known as influencers.
Yeah, you know.
And I say that because I want to get $70,000 from Oil of Olay soap.
not even soap that I use. Irritates my skin. Deathly allergic to it. But they give me $70,000. So yeah. It's kind of a wash.
I'll keep some of it in my garage. Yeah. For people who don't know, who didn't listen to her first appearance, Gwen is the person who composed our theme song. Mm-hmm. So that weekly bop, you have her to thank for that. Mm-hmm. And Gwen, why this episode of season 3? We reached out and gave you the pick of the litter.
Dermot.
Yeah.
Dermot.
Dermot's a standout.
I love Dermot. I guess slight spoiler for later years, but we only get 3 precious seasons with Dermot.
Yeah.
And he just is such a fully realized character, and we all know Dermots. Or we knew them in middle school, high school. They were just around. Mm-hmm. Where they come from, like, I don't know. I don't relate to Dermots, but they were there.
Well, here's the thing: if you're listening to that and you're like, I didn't know a Dermot. You were the Dermot.
Yeah, you might have been the Dermot, and it probably, you know, the Dermot in the Dermots in my life were oftentimes older family members of friends who for some reason hung around with us, the younger kids, but the Dermot always kind of barnacled on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some Dermots can grow out of it, and for some, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can digivolve into a different kind of Dermot, but you can also keep that army jacket on for your entire life. I had an uncle who was Incredo Dermot until he died. He was like Dermot from Cradle to the Grave. From Cradle to the Grave.
Yeah.
But he was incredibly Dermot the entire time I knew him. Big uncle energy. This Dermot.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Just the compulsive liar, shit talking friend. Love it. Yeah, not even friend.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just fixture. Dermot's a fixture.
You just get a Dermot.
Yeah.
I love this episode because it is a low stakes episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that for me, for season 3, like, I like the lore episodes, but this kind of stuff is really my favorite stuff that the show really does.
Yep.
You know, I love these hangout episodes. These are really fun and funny to me.
This is very something much like a sister episode to Tag Sale.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Very similar stakes, very, very just at the compound, involving a huge amount of the universe being sucked into this nexus.
Mm-hmm.
And very little ultimately happens except for the few things that do.
Yeah. Yeah, we're introduced to some people who will be important later. You know, we get Dr. Z, we get Dermot, but that's really the only movement that we have. And like Tag Sale, you know, having the Tag Sale energy is good and fine. The thing is, though, at this point, a lot of the characters are more established. And also like new people have been introduced. So having the Order of the Triad there to do safety stuff is extremely good to me as well.
Pirate Captain's a miracle in this.
Oh yeah.
I don't think any of the summer camp guests are they're all worth their screen time.
1000%. It's weird. The only thing I think that is probably not worth its screen time, and this is, I don't know how controversial this is, I might have cut the Monarch stuff from this episode.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to cut one thing, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's so small and so inconsequential, and like I'm okay with the Moppets. You know, the Moppets have a limit, and we haven't hit the Moppet limit. I just don't know how necessary it was to check back in with the Monarch and just be like, yeah, he's still trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
That the important plot development of Dr. Mrs. the Monarch's costume, I guess.
The costume's incredible. Very good costume.
Yes. I like Brock's overall arc in this. We're going to talk about it in detail, but him turning to the Moppets in desperation because he doesn't know what to do about Dermot is very good.
Everything with Brock in this is incredible. It's one of the best voice performances.
Yep.
that he gives. There's a moment where Dermot first starts mouthing off to him, and he just makes a shocked noise. That I think I get stuck in my head all the time is just being dumbstruck is so fucking good.
Yeah.
I just love it so much. Yeah. We should get into it because each one of these moments is worth chatting about. This is just a big character fun showcase.
Mm-hmm.
For this. So this written by Doc Hammer, originally aired June 29th, 2008. And the concept here is that Rusty is holding a day camp for boy adventurers, mostly just to make money off his past.
Yes.
And is not paying his friends to appear.
Yep, they're just showing up with booth. We've put together a number of booths. That is not an inconsiderable expense. It's something. But yeah, the concept of Rusty being there and selling shirts with his face on it and charging for autographs and stuff, that is a direct result of Hammer and Public having spent time at cons and seeing people do this as a way to kind of make their living late in their career.
Oh yeah. If you've ever been to a con and just seen, Lou Ferrigno, sitting at a table.
Yeah.
You know what this is.
My favorite version of that was at when we did the Milwaukee show. Hopefully we'll do the Milwaukee show again because it's so close to Chicago. You get the actors who played the original the original Mortal Kombat characters who were there selling pictures and autographs and stuff like that. So that's good. Not the movies. The actors who were digitized for the games.
Our friend Brad, who did karaoke with Scorpion or whatever.
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah,
way cooler than doing karaoke with the Scorpions.
Yeah.
If I had to choose,
I guess. Between those two choices.
Yeah.
Obvious winner.
But this was done, so Doc Hammer wrote this. This was the second episode that he wrote for the season, and he kind of did it a little bit as a palate cleanser after writing Orb, which is one of the heavier, plot kind of episodes. So you can kind of see this as a stretching of the legs.
Mm-hmm. We talked about introducing Dermot, who is important. This is our second appearance of Action Johnny. Mm-hmm. The first time he could not be Johnny Quest. Actionably, they had to change him. Real fun. He changes a lot as the show goes on, but he's very fun in this. And his enemy, Dr. Z, who is based on a character, the only recurring villain from Johnny Quest.
Dr. Zinn, yeah.
Dr. Zinn. And Dr. Z is incredible and also turned out to be pretty important to the show.
Yeah.
The last couple seasons, kind of weirdly enough. And you can see, the reason why is because Jackson Public and Doc Hammer love Dr. Z.
Yeah.
There's a great little bit in the book where they talk about, if Doc Hammer wants to have a line not be cut, he just has Dr. Z say it. If Hank or Dr. Z say something, it will not get cut.
They said if you want us to have fun, make an entire episode that is just Dr. Z and Shore Leave talking to each other.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
And just with a side of Hank.
Yeah, don't threaten me with a good time.
Don't threaten me with a good time. We mentioned the new costume for Dr. Girlfriend. It's called a prototype in this, even though this just ends up being her costume. Mm-hmm. And they talk in the book and the commentary about how sexy this costume is, and they made it in part in light because of cosplay.
Yeah.
Let's get some sexy outfits. Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, but are they? So their thought process was we want to see somebody wear this, so it's in the show now.
It's not that they make reference to that in the commentary.
Yeah.
And then in the book they say we made this costume, we knew that cosplay was becoming a thing or something.
Yeah.
It's not Queen Etheria, but it's pretty revealing.
Yeah, a lot of cleavage on this one. The sense that I got was that, like, Doc Hammer talked about, like, I can identify all the pieces of clothing in this. Like, that's an American Apparel top, et cetera, et cetera. I think that when he was putting it together, he used those references and, kind of had an eye toward making this, like, a fun costume to put together, was kind of the sense that I got out of it.
Yeah, it's weird because the books, there's reading the book and then listening to the commentary on all these episodes, you get to see kind of them on their best behavior in the book, and then the commentary where they go to horny jail. It's
because it has to go through an editor, Gary.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like, somebody else wrote the book, they edited a interview. In the commentary, the reason why I was not giving them the benefit of the doubt is because they specifically talk about sexy girls in this costume.
Yeah.
In cosplay and cons. So it's just like, who knows with these hornballs?
Yeah.
It is difficult to say.
What's that Andy Daly character? Dom DeMarco?
Dom DeMillo.
Dom DeMillo.
Girls.
Related to cosplay, I liked their gag in the commentary saying, nobody cosplays as Dermot because you couldn't tell at a convention if they were doing
Dermot.
Yeah.
You don't want to get mistaken for Dermot.
Yeah.
And if you went up to someone, you're like, hey, nice Dermot cosplay, and they were really a Dermot, that's like a Dermot mimic.
That's like
they get punched.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Or if they were just like superficially a Dermot, like, hey, are you a Dermot? It's kind of like asking a woman if they're pregnant. Like, that's just a way to convey, I mistook you for a Dermot.
In the old world, you could shoot somebody for doing that.
Yeah.
You do not get to call somebody a Dermot. So, or that Liza Minnelli impersonator I booked was really Liza Minnelli. That kind of energy.
Yeah.
One thing too, just without getting into spoilers and stuff, I don't necessarily like the end of Dermot's character arc.
No.
I like Dermot, but I wanted him to do better than this.
Yeah.
We get 3 seasons, but
he gets back shelved like Hatred does,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still there, but just like we're done with this toy.
Yeah.
A little bit. This opens with a commercial. The cold open is a commercial for Rusty's Day Camp for Boy Adventurers, which is real fun. And they show all of the different like T-shirt of the month club things they had done for this.
Yeah.
I love the story between for the Samson Kodokan blood judo.
Yep.
Where it's a red belt that he wears, and then in real judo he wouldn't have that, so they made Samson come with his own brand of judo where you start with a red belt and then everything is just a different shade of red.
Yeah.
Judo. He looks so mad, and it's like, because judo isn't meant to be violent.
Right, right.
Defense, but I love Kodokan blood judo.
Yeah, it was an animation error, right? They sent it back. They got it back from Korea, and it had a red belt, kind of make him look a little bit like Ryo. Yeah, and so they that was the way they got around it. I love these logos. Like the Billy Quizboy logo is really good. I love the Pretend Ghost Syndicate. Like I would totally have something with the Pretend Ghost Syndicate logo on it.
I even love the little Rusty Venture light bulb that's giving you all this info.
Yep.
This is based on a real thing. They would have these little day camps where like a little cartoon light bulb would talk to you. And I remember seeing commercials for these kind of things as well.
Yeah.
Obviously not this dangerous or what have you.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
I think the best line in the commercial for me is when he says it's the best camp for boy adventurers in the area, which implies
this is a lot of competition.
It's not a national draw.
So he's not even like these kids who can't even afford to go to the good camp. Yeah, that makes sense. These are the kids that end up at Rusty's camp. They're not going to make it.
No, still $200 though.
Yeah,
it's expensive camp.
But hey,
and he can't convince anybody that he was Rusty Venture. It's so like This is a really good episode of the show. This contains a lot of the things that are special about this show.
Well, just
like that's fucking tragic.
I just you can really like sum up a lot of Rusty. It's a summary of Rusty's entire life, where a kid asks, where's Rusty, and he says, I told you I'm Rusty, and the kid just says, what happened?
It's so good. We begin with Rusty hanging out. Nobody's lining up for his at his merch booth.
Yep.
And Brock being like, these kids pay $200 a head to get in here, and you're charging them $20 for a picture with a cardboard cutout. You can get a bobblehead and a T-shirt and stuff.
Yeah.
All these things here.
Mm-hmm. And the Moppets are here. They're dressed up. One of them has like a little propeller beanie that has the microphone. They're here doing like recon for the Monarch because he's doing some, he calls it preemptive arching. And the Moppets are upset because there's no food. And I agree with the Moppets. Crawlers are underrated.
Oh, sure. Like, who doesn't like them?
Right.
I thought about that too. Who's underrating our crawler?
I just think you don't hear about them an awful lot. Like on a donut spread, the crawler isn't usually there. Yeah,
you get a variety pack. There's no crawlers in there.
Yeah.
We got eaten, man. It's because Gary was there first. Like, I love a crawler. They're mostly air. It owns.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a good ass donut.
Yeah, but but like the food, there's no actual like free food there. The $200 doesn't get you that. There's a vending machine with $8 bags of combos.
Big convention energy.
Yes,
like in Milwaukee, where you'd go there and get a $4.50 bottle of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, and only Dr. Pepper.
When I worked the convention circuit, we had $40 per diem to buy food, and that got you nowhere.
Yeah. It's so funny though, because it's big pandemic energy where I'm missing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, man, an $8 bag of combos. I can't go for an $8 bag of combos right now.
I want a $9.50 piece of very dry pizza.
Yeah. give me a crust sandwich with no sauce, please. Rusty calls the Moppets, man, those kids are ugly. And I love again the Patrick Warburton performance in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely, you're kidding, right? They're organic plastic dwarves, and I love Rusty just not getting it. Yes, and they're almost as good as you are. You and I,
right,
almost.
Yeah.
Is Rusty under the impression that dwarves are a D&D race in real life?
I think he's just being. I think it's. I mean, so being shitty to little people, that's ableism.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's how I'd classify. I think he's just being ableist.
Yeah.
And it's just him being his shitty, confused, like, calling everybody else out for the shit that he is.
Yeah. Well, because Brock says, because Rusty implied that they're a race, says they're not a race. And it's like, now who's racist? Hitler.
Who's racist?
Yeah.
Like he's saying as if they don't count. They're not good enough to be a race.
It's like
really, really good.
There are a lot of base level assumptions that are wrong here. We're not going to get this worked out with you during this scene, Rusty.
Yeah. We cut over to the booths where Billy is making his pitch to kids like, if you can't be a boy adventurer, why not be a quiz boy? Underrated branch of kid genius.
Yeah.
I love this because like what is Billy getting out of this?
I don't know.
Nothing. Unpaid volunteer, and he gets one of the worst days of his life. You guys pointed it out, and now I can't notice it. Every day is the worst day of Billy's life.
Yeah. 100%. It's like an office space. Yeah. It's also like even what he doesn't get anything if a kid decides to become a quiz boy.
Yeah.
We're not recruiting for big quiz.
That show isn't still on.
Fond of the quiz boy ecosystem, the school to quiz boy pipeline.
Yeah. The school to quiz boy to fash pipeline. But I love the kids just calling him on it immediately.
Oh yeah. Well, so like, you're not a boy. I'm like, you're right. I'm 35 years old. You just solved the case of how to hurt the unpaid volunteer's feelings. Oh God. I don't know which one he is, a Shamil or Shamazel. He might be both.
I like him tormenting the kids as well.
Oh, of course.
You're like, wrong. Mm-hmm. You will be a quiz boy. pirate captains thing, and this is amazing. I just love this. Look at me. I look like Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And you can hang out with people who used to be famous, like Cher.
So I wish that they had the courage of their convictions, because they say you hang out with people who used to be famous, like Cher or the guy who voiced Inspector Gadget. No, you don't say the guy who voiced Inspector Gadget. You say Don Adams.
Do you think that's an issue of the courage of their convictions, Cole?
I think it is.
Are you on your mind?
I think that they could just say, I think you could just say Don Adams. All right. Trust that people will know who Don Adams is.
I think that the joke is that nobody knows who Don Adams is, and you're the weirdo.
Okay.
For this. I think that Doc and Jackson definitely knew who it was, but the pirate captain is just gonna be like the guy who did the voice for Inspector Gadget.
Okay. I think he should have said Don Adams.
You mean the character or the writers?
Both of them. It's weird. Oh, here's
criticizing the pirate captain?
Yeah. Call him. Do you have his number? Can you talk to him?
What's the secret mathematical formula between what's funnier if they pretend like they don't know the thing or they do know the thing? Because I trust that Doc and Jackson know every single reference that they're making. Yeah. But like,
if they said Don Adams, the joke wouldn't land.
I would land.
But how many? There's so many jokes that you have to go reach for Google for already, Gary.
Yeah. And it would also be a weird slam to Don Adams.
So that's fair. That does tarnish the legacy of Don Adams, Cole. Yeah. So it's punching up when it's Cher.
It's
punching down when it's the voice of the Inspector.
I guess what I'm saying is that's weird. It's weird where they drew the line, that they didn't just like it speaks to me that they didn't trust that people would know who Don Adams was, so they had to say, oh, he's the guy who played so and so.
I don't think that's why they did it. I think it's a comedy bit. I think that the comedy rhythm was saying the guy who does the voice for that sounds more throwaway.
Okay, all right.
Do you think, sincere question, do you can think of the fame levels of Cher and Don Adams, or like the notability or knowability of their names to be similar? Or would you agree that Cher is more of a household name than Don Adams?
Cher is more of a household name than Don Adams. I think that the joke of people who used to be famous saying the name that you wouldn't know, that lines up with it more to me. That lines up more with the joke that they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, write in, listeners. I'm curious as to how mad you are about this.
And also write in about the very contentious energy that this show sometimes takes. Because it's been several episodes where it's just been open season on Cole.
You know that I love you, but every once in a while you say something that just sounds fucking insane to me, dude.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while there's like, are you hearing the shit that's coming out of your mouth moment that I'll have? And like, that's what you're picking up on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Just wild to me. I don't know.
I just love, like, again, just the sadness of this whole thing. Okay, you might not be a boy adventurer, but here's something else you could settle for. Like, yes, you won't be the hero, but you join the rubber mask set, and you can just pretend to be a minor 49er, or drink
Scooby-Doo,
right?
Yeah, very good.
Oh,
we cut over to the Monarch on his Mac. And he's watching the Moppets through their camera here. Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, doesn't understand what he's doing. She's still kind of playing coy. This is before she kind of hardballs him into not arching Dr. Venture. She's still gentle at this point. And he gets distracted by it when she comes out with her new costume, which makes him exceedingly horny.
Yep.
He starts out with just talking about her boobs falling out, but then talks about sitting on her king's ever-expanding throne.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you get a boner, like, your app doesn't get bigger.
It makes it sound like it's infinite, doesn't stop.
What do we do?
Eventually it'll blot out the sun.
This Katamari laugh will kill us all.
Oh my gosh. So cut over, Hank and Dean are, standing there watching on. Dean gets scared off because looming, in a shadow casting shadow on the sun, we have Dermot, this huge teen approaching. I
love that so much. He's like, what is that? And Hank's like, that's a teenager. Like, that delivery is very good. And then Dean brings up, he's like, we're teenagers. That ain't right. Like, it's so good. Like, wait a minute. That's not what a teenager is.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to take an opportunity to talk about Dermot himself for a moment.
Yes.
Voiced by Doc Hammer. So my guess, and this is totally a guess, you guys have read the book and I haven't, and I listened to the commentary years ago. I always assumed that they basically were looking at all the axes of the show and realized that the family axes didn't have an in for Doc Hammer. And so they made him a Venture brother, basically.
Like there's no one in the immediate family that Doc Hammer voices.
Yeah.
So he's out of those storylines as an actor.
Yeah. I never really thought about that, but that's like 100% true.
I could see that.
Quiz boy everything.
Yeah. And, so like this is a way again to have, like those, to have it be those two guys, because he's always playing against Hank, another Jackson Public character. So you get that dynamic in there, which just naturally that is the way that they write. Also, like adding new characters and pairs, you get Public voicing Sergeant Hatred, and then you get Dermot coming in as a new character, bringing in his pairs.
Yeah. Both of which they were like pretty in love with.
Yes.
Get used a lot during the season. Yeah, that makes tons of sense.
Yeah.
I can see that. When he shows up here in episode, he talks about his mom made him come, and that his dad was probably special ops. This is all part of a big red herring. They do a lot to kind of suggest to you that the dad was supposed to be Brock, but when they wrote the episode, they left it open on purpose.
Yeah.
And do you think they knew at the time? Because we don't get the full reveal till midway season 4, if I remember.
Yeah. I think so, because the hinting is so strong towards it being Brock's kid that it would be weird if that was an intentional swerve.
In the book, I think they talk about, they say, we put stuff out and we see how people react, and we will always do, they say we tend to do the swerve. If people thought, oh, Brock definitely isn't the dad, we would have made it the dad. Like, they've got a contrarian streak to them when they lay this stuff out.
Yeah, I was noticing watching the last few episodes that they really love to set themselves up a puzzle box that they like to solve later. They don't want to know the answer until an answer is demanded, basically.
Yeah. And also, contemporaneously, people were not really interested in who his dad was. Everybody was looking at the silhouette of the mom in the car and trying to draw conclusions about who the mom was.
Which is really interesting and weird.
Yeah.
Fandoms, comparing these silhouettes. And it's I understand, they want us to look at the dad mystery, but we're gonna at the mom. and they're kind of responsible for that by setting up mommy bomb.
Yes.
Throughout the entire thing as a mystery. But it's when I read that the message boards were all abuzz with who Dermot's mom was, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
Cut over to Action Johnny. I love this this
You're
performance.
As a dad.
Well, because the idea of a bunch of kids hey, you get to see Johnny Quest, and this is the speech they give you is very funny to me. It's so traumatizing.
It's the real Johnny Quest. Oh no, it's the real. This is too real.
Yeah, extremely real. So good. Who has a father? I love the kid whose dad died, who doesn't raise his hand. He's like, oh, you don't look like Jesus, bro.
This is the same kid that Billy said earlier, what are you going to be when you grow up?
A quiz
I'm going to be you're wrong. You're going to be a quiz boy.
Yeah, that kid just shows up here to get absolutely negged by all of Rusty's friends.
So maybe he's a future quiz boy. He's got Billy energy.
Yeah.
Big Billy energy, yeah. Yeah,
but just Brandon Small had previously done a really good job with this character. This is captivating. This performance as Action Johnny, but just as he just gets into his head and he just goes into trauma flashbacks. Maybe I did kill the dog. Maybe I was the lizard maid who stole your precious serum, father.
You care more about that serum than me.
Yeah.
This also like sets up one of my favorite season 4 episodes, which is the therapy episode.
So good. That is such a good episode. Gary.
It's a really good one. Like tons of good action, Johnny.
Yeah.
Stuff
and
in that.
like one of the best Seth Green performances you're ever going to get in that episode.
Weirdly enough, yeah.
Yeah.
And they makes like I get a little annoyed by John Hodgman showing up as a voice actor. Like no good reason. I just kind of do. And he's not annoying in it either.
Oh, just a good job.
Interesting. Yeah. Just too recognizable when he plays that OSI agent.
Yeah, it's too much his own thing.
Yeah.
Like they introduced that John Hodgman OSI agent named Snoopy, and it's like, who's this guy? And why is there an agent called Snoopy? I just don't, it's a weird time where they're just throwing a lot of stuff against the OSI wall. Because that's where like Headshot shows up as well, who doesn't get an arc or anything really.
Yeah, no, it's just a name.
Just Headshot.
Bill Hader.
I love.
Yeah. Bill Hader and they got Paget Brewster in. God, what a treasure Paget Brewster is. Yeah,
but doesn't do anything.
True.
Like great, like, not given a lot to do. I love this where Brock shows up and is like, seems pretty strung out, and Rusty's like, he should have seen his rider. He wanted I can't remember the details of it, but were you around when that dropped? Like when everybody's riders dropped?
I mean,
on the internet?
Not when everybody's riders dropped, but I've always been fascinated with them. And especially like the turns out about what those generally are supposed to be, like why Van Halen did that actually, and then everybody kind of mimicked
the hint thing.
The Van Halen explanation is far more fascinating than the idea that they're you know the word I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Control freaks who can't stand green M&Ms.
Yeah. No, I mean, for people who don't know, the explanation is, so we ask for no green M&Ms. We make these very specific things because those contracts are not just about our accommodations, but we're going to these smaller venues that maybe don't have the electrical system or the safety, the stuff that we need. And so if we see the green M&M in the bowl, we know they probably didn't like check to make sure they had the wattage. So then they would go and like double check to make sure they weren't going to burn the fucking place down.
So that was the first thing where writers became the public consciousness. This is specifically referencing a website called thesmokinggun.com.
Okay.
In the early 2000s, this website dropped a bunch of writers.
Okay.
If you go to thesmokinggun.com/backstage, and this was a huge internet thing when I first kind of moved out of my parents' house. And it's just all these people's writers, and you can find the specific one that they reference here, Sean Puff Daddy's thing on this website. This is where they got that information.
Yeah.
So like that is the cool, what are those called? The map, those towns, fake towns on maps to.
The canary traps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is. But just the idea of like looking at wild ass writers came from this very specific website, and this was all the rage for a little while.
Nice.
Was reading writers, they're pretty fucking wild. So if you want to look at Red Hot Chili Peppers and the kind of stuff they wanted, you can.
Yeah.
Included aromatherapy candles.
Cool.
Have y'all ever given any thought what you would put on your own writer if you like had that power?
I mean, I would probably just say whatever you have, that's fine.
Yeah, surprise me, like because
I don't want to make a fuss.
I don't like asking anybody for anything. So like, yeah, I don't know. I would be too ashamed to make any demands because I'm just a humble and a modest person, and not everybody knows that about me.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers got their socks, their dick socks. They're on their writers.
Yeah. What's the Bloodhound Gang want?
Just like a fresh 12-pack of Hanes.
Yeah, dick sock. And these are. I remember when me and my friends got into this and we were reading them. I can't remember any of the greatest hits from it, but watching this episode, I was like, "Oh shit, yeah. That was like an early internet thing."
Yeah,
like what's Moby want? Trash,
probably.
garbage.
Shit. God, what's Wayne Newton want? Sorry, no. This is I wasn't aware of this specific thing. That man. I don't know, like celebrity leaks or whatever have gotten so salacious. This is wholesome in comparison.
Very wholesome.
Like I don't feel
Moby wanting 10 shirts and 10 boxers.
Yeah. Like
pretty chill.
I don't feel bad seeing this or knowing this information. So
this Bill Cosby 96 one's probably pretty dark in retrospect.
No.
It's just interesting because they have the 96 and the 2005 one, so you get to see how he changed.
And I bet that's a fun way to kill an afternoon, just reading through those.
Yeah.
This was a big thing back in the day. Carrot Top Made in America tour.
Oh, God.
Yeah, boy. Anywho, I could do this. 4 flame projectors, 2 fireballs, 1 24 charge airburst harness, green dot powder with red flame additive.
What?
A lot of pyrotechnics in the Carrot Top show.
Weird.
At this time.
Huh.
And he also uses Dial soap. So,
oh, we're not sponsored by them, so
no, I shouldn't buzz market.
Yeah.
Dial soap. Anywho, sorry.
Yeah.
But again, the thing I like about this joke is that I love it when Doc and Brock are friends.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, like anything that references them having inside jokes together and stuff, I really love.
Yeah, because he lists off all the stuff, and it's like, oh, what was that, Van Halen? Oh, it was Puff Daddy. Like, oh yeah, we both knew this because we both talked about that in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. I love their friendship.
Hank runs up and he's so excited. He has a friend. Like he's never had a friend before, really. So he wants to show Dermot his room because he's a kid, right? And I love what Rusty says. Quit it with the pop stuff. If these kids find out their hero had sex, their heads will explode.
Which is them seeding Dermot. Parentage shit.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Brock tries to spare Hank's feelings by saying he can help him with his judo, his Kodokan blood judo. Before the blood judo, the Order of the Triad is doing their safety presentation here, which is incredible. Listen, but Al, I don't smoke. Just really, really good. Telling the kids about radar and smoking. And I don't know why you would get like Doctor Strange and friends to talk about radon.
Because they fight against forces unseen, Gary.
Ooh, yeah. Well, it's weirdly unfocused too. Like they just move from topic to topic.
Yeah, here's a list of dangerous things.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where you think that it should be Pete White, and then I found out through the commentary that Pete White is on the intercom, announcing events that you can't hear in the mix,
right?
That all got cut.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that like weird background audio noise I was hearing constantly was.
Yes, Pete. Yeah, that's Pete announcing things, including Dean's square dancing lessons that were canceled due to lack of interest.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
When they do the the judo, Brock judo presentation, this is the part where Dermot, is like, is that a geisha instead of a, because it's gay because he's a Dermot.
Yeah.
And Brock just, just not knowing what to say is fucking incredible.
Yeah. And you've got Dermot like, my hands in instep have been had to be registered as lethal weapons. Are yours? He's like, oh, you're lying. You're just building yourself up. And Brock just does not.
And Hank buys it. I love Hank just believing. How are yours, Brock? No, they don't do that. It's not even real. Just losing it.
I think the fact that Hank is buying into Dermot's bullshit is really what bothers Brock the most here.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I really like how kind of sweet it is. Like when you see that, you see the boys and you see their kind of personality thing, like Hank's desire to imprint himself on any strong masculine presence. Like later when the tram and he tries to do his own version of the joke. Yeah. Like all this, it's a very sweet moment to me.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just transferring from Brock to Dermot. Big downgrade.
Yeah.
Big downgrade. But for just a moment, Hank sees him as more masculine than Brock.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And I just love I love how unaccustomed Brock is to any kind of disrespect.
Yeah. Didn't push back whatsoever.
Right.
Is Hank's karate gi a reference to a movie?
I don't know.
He wore it earlier. He wore it when he trained with Molotov.
Okay.
In Assassinate
Maybe
Me.
that's what I'm thinking.
Second appearance of that Gee. But I don't remember if it's a specific Gee.
Yeah. Billy rolls up on the tram to take kids around to tour the science facility. Again, some of the wind leaves the sail. We have Monarch yelling at Kevin through the computer, saying, "Hey, get in there. He's going to show us. It's going to show us everything that we need to know to get at him." And we have, this is where Rusty, lays out like, "Okay, everybody pair off. We're going to use the buddy system to keep track of each other." This is especially funny because it was a joke earlier. They're not insured. So they have all these kids on this dangerous compound.
The insurance of the buddy system.
Yep.
It's also, the buddy system was a real ass thing that we had to use in field trips and stuff, which is like, exists only in a fantasy world where you can't lose two kids.
Yep.
I
see a flaw in your plan.
If it's going to get bad, it needs to be really bad.
Yeah.
Oh God. Very, very good. This is where Dermot is, says, "Hey, Pat McCrotch," and tells him this thing. And Hank's like, I love Hank's like, Walter Melon. That's so fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants someone to call him Watermelon on accident, and that's his joke, to pat my crotch.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
It's just him misunderstanding. Like, no, it's not the funny thing is not the crude part. It's how we trick somebody.
Yeah, it's so pure.
Yeah.
Watermelon. It's so fucking pure.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is where we get the "what happened" line as the kids are disappointed that this scrawny bald man is their once hero.
Yeah, and I love he's been telling them multiple times.
Yes.
They keep telling you.
I also love Orpheus talking to Brock, and just this little like mentor. Like, Brock goes to Orpheus like Tim goes to Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But Orpheus is like, "Hey, so let me understand this. The first time somebody disrespects you, you kill them?" And
sometimes I just bruise them.
Yeah, I just bruise them. You gotta know. And I love him taking the exact wrong. If you treat him as an adult, he'll act like an adult. And he's like, "Oh, so what you're saying is I can get a kid to beat him up." Very good.
This entire scene, just perfect. I love it. This is my favorite scene of the episode.
Just petty Brock.
Yeah, really good.
He screams, "I'm no longer listening," as he runs away as Orpheus tries to continue the advice.
Yeah, very, very good. It's sad they talked about in the book or in the commentary, Doc Hammer says is the only triad stuff he did this season, which is sad because I like Doc's triad.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. So we get Dean is getting his autograph from Action Johnny, and I love Johnny just being like, "Oh, are you Dean Venture?" Oh, my dad says I'm not supposed to say. Listen, I can get you out of here. I have a plane. Just say the word, man. It again, very sweet.
Yeah,
like him trying to rescue this kid from this thing. I think that's very, very sweet.
I know what
sweet,
this
but scary. Like, would
super
you
scary.
go with Action Johnny at this point?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if Action Johnny's going to be a better father than Rusty Venture, and that says like tons.
But I mean, Action Johnny probably knows that, but he knows that it's a bad life. Like, anything's better, man. Get on the streets.
He's also he wouldn't have to do adventure stuff. In the background of the shot, there's a stage set up that just says barrels. Hide in them, throw them. Which I really love. So he getting out of the hiding in barrels lifestyle.
There's I love the minor visual gag of when who interrupts Brock? Yeah, Brock walks up and Johnny's just like, "I'm just signing a baby picture," and his hand just goes way off the picture.
Yes, like shaking. The Rusty takes all the kids to something called the Eden, which is this habitat to prepare people for long-term space travel. There's some talk in the book and commentary about whether they're not sure if this is where Baldovich and Manstrong trained when they were under Venture Senior. But it's just like this abandoned thing he has.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, this seems like the kind of thing kids would like."
Of which he has multiple, and they will keep coming.
I love that. Just because of his neglect, he lives on just an entire plot of land that is nothing but story hooks.
Abandoned super science story hooks.
Yeah, and
he lives in the SCP.
Yeah.
foundation.
And he says, "Oh, kid says, oh, why is it so dirty?" As they're trying to force the rusted door open, and Rusty, like not even bitterly, he just kind of cheerfully says, "Oh, my father died before he taught me to care."
Very good. They get in. It hasn't been opened in 40 years, and he just kind of assumes like kids will want to see this stuff.
Yeah,
but it's this completely overgrown jungle. It's very scary. I can't remember, what do they say it smells like?
They say it smells like a jockstrap or something, or it sounds like it smells like a
the
hamper,
of a gym sock or something.
Yeah, it's like a hamper is what they say.
Yeah, and they find it like a Blair Witch, like a skeleton crucified in an X that the ever-growing super apes within are constructing apparently.
Yeah. And out comes a vicious gorilla, which Rusty thinks, oh, I can just talk to him like Coco.
Mm-hmm. I love so Dermot's there. Dermot decides to become a hero. Mm-hmm. Pulls out his air pistol. It's not a BB gun. It's an air pistol.
Spring action.
Says, Mr. Action has just joined the server. Very fucking funny thing to say out loud. I'm going to say that next time I am on a date and it's going well and I'm going to kiss or something. I'm going to lead that into.
Hey, let me know how that goes. Well, I am very.
Join the server.
I'm very interested in how that works out for you, bud.
I got to find a girl who would laugh at that kind of thing.
Okay, all right.
That's my goal, man.
That's how you know. Like, the litmus test.
Good litmus.
That's how you know. Yeah, that's how you know. It's just funny.
Oh man.
But I love it. So one of my favorite things about how Doc Hammer paces his episodes is we cut over to Dermot doing this. And when we cut back off screen, Doc is trying to do sign language by saying the words to the gorilla and told Billy to act like a kitten.
Yep.
And he's like, this isn't working. And I don't know why you thought it would work. And of course it wasn't, but we don't like the idea of like him convincing him of that would never happen. Right. Like, I don't know how you write the dialogue where Doc is like, Billy, act like a kitten. It's our only chance. It seems stupid, but cutting away and coming back to them, I've already just agreed to it. Yeah. Really works for me.
I'm sure Billy didn't really agree to it so much as was dragged into it because he's such a pushover.
Probably like literally push down. Like, why'd you push me over? Act like a kitten. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dermot, again being all talk, he goes to shoot, but he hits Billy instead.
Yeah, which sends the gorilla into gorilla rage.
Yeah.
We cut over to Brock. Brock is trying to train Dean to punch so he can beat up Dermot. And Dean had met Dermot before this and noticed that he's a jerk.
Yeah.
They're setting this up. It's not working though, because Dean he's not strong. He's like a wuss. I love when he radios Rusty. He's like, hey, is Hank with you? He's like, Hank's still alive.
Like he looks around and checks.
Yeah. That's so dark.
But he left Billy for dead. Billy just barely manages to escape. He's all bloodied. His robot arm is ripped off. And he's holding a shoe. They lost one. A small child was disemboweled with a gorilla. This is really bad.
Yeah. And Rusty's like, it's fine. He's like, I just saw a kid get disemboweled. Like, very traumatic.
Yeah.
We go back to Monarch and Dr. Mrs. the Monarch eating dinner with Phantom Limb's dinnerware. She's mad about him sending the Moppets to Arch, and we see him looking at the screen where Brock is talking to the Moppets, trying to get them to fight Dermot. And, they're like, use a knife, bigger knife, being little Moppets. But he immediately sees through and just grabs the camera and says, come get your kids. Yeah. Monarch.
And then really sweetly, he says like, oh, and by the way, Rusty really misses you guys.
Well, he's very sarcastic. Yeah. Like he's not saying that sweetly at all. He's saying like, oh, he really misses you. Yeah. It's like, I think he calls them idiots.
Oh, okay.
During it.
Yeah.
And Monarch believes him anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he wants to. He needs to. He needs it.
And
also, I love the Monarch's mid-2000s MacBook with the Monarch logo on it.
It's so good. That clamshell.
Custom built.
Yeah.
Pirate Captain is having people prepare for another presentation, teaching the Order of the Triad how they should react to a ghost. Like, we should be ghost. We have ghost experience.
Yeah.
But he only has one ghost costume and a million pirate costumes.
And then Brock rolls up with a Mummy Yeti costume that will be coming back, even though it is rented.
Who even knows what they're going to be doing here? It's like play or whatever. It's like pirates and yetis and ghosts and mummies and Action Johnny and Dr. Z.
With a special guest. Action Johnny big timing them. Action Johnny doesn't perform with a special anything.
You know what I just realized, y'all? Season 3 really lays a lot of track for the fact that Rusty really likes to write plays.
Yeah.
And that's going to pay off next season.
I was thinking about it with where Dean put on the version of Lady Windermere's fan.
Right.
And him getting that from Rusty.
Uh-huh.
100% believe that.
Yeah. No, and then that'll pay off in the Bad Apartment episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is one of my favorites of next season.
Mm-hmm. So the Moppets go to drive away, and the Monarch is dismayed to see the hover tank driving the opposite direction, approaching the compound. I love this little exchange. This is worse than seeing you with another man. Hey, that wasn't my idea. And Monarch says, I thought it would turn me on, but it was just double the embarrassment.
It's weird that they seed the Monarch Dr. Girlfriend poly swinger stuff this early.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it ends up being like a real long-running kind of subplot of that relationship.
I mean, it was seeded pretty early. I mean, back, what was it? Midlife Chrysalis. He was touching himself as she was seducing, she was seducing Rusty. Yeah.
They're freaks 7 days a week.
Who's out there certifying these freaks?
It ends up being that really sad like payoff at the end of next season, I think, when 21 is like, confessing to the Monarch that he kissed her over his corpse, and he's like, oh, so what? We had a threesome. Yeah. We're supervillains, you fucking dink. And he's like, yeah, I watched my wife fuck Manta Claus and made him breakfast in bed. And it's just very sad, like he can't handle it.
Yeah.
I always really like that moment. Like he thinks that he is in a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I love 21's arc of being like, maybe I'm not a bad guy in general.
Oh, the way that pays off is so good.
Yeah. So Triana shows up at this point, talking to Dean, and Dean is upset because Hank's got a giant new friend. They both know them. No Dermot. Rusty shows up for the show to start, and he's late and panicking because that kid died. He had to go off to the lab. They kind of foreshadow the end of it before this. When Dr. Z shows up, and this is great, the old-timey musical sting they do whenever he does this.
Yep. And Dr. Z's here, and he's just here like for the showbiz circuit, right? But Action Johnny, because he has nothing but a ball of trauma.
Is this, man?
He starts having flashbacks. Good. Like he collapses to the ground because he thinks that this person who has tortured him before is just gonna, start doing it again. And I love that Dr. Z is just a natural. Like, like the show obviously isn't going to happen, but he gives the kids what they want. He gives the natural villain speech, and the kids are just going crazy for it.
Yeah, he's an old pro.
Yeah,
they make a reference in the commentary about how he should hang out with Scaramantula.
Mm-hmm.
Just like old dudes who just really like this stuff.
Yeah.
I love Dr. Z talking to Rusty. Like, obviously Rusty called him in here as a favor,
right,
to make this appearance at his day camp. He's like, I thought you said Johnny was clean now. And he's like, he's been dry for a month, but he's been downing Xanax like they were Cheetos. Very sad.
Yeah.
Like, he's not on drugs, but he's not doing good.
And he's on doctor drugs right now.
Yeah.
And not Dr. Drugs, his DJ name. Dermot just keeps on talking shit, and Triana, calls him a dork, saying, "Oh, you think you're all hardcore, but you're so Dave Matthews." They're going back and forth again. Just nobody is buying or giving Dermot the time of day except for Hank.
Well, and he insults Triana, and that's when when Dean freaks out. He says you're lucky you look like a suicide girl. Right, just like that. And Dean freaks out and wails on him in what I feel like is a reference to A Christmas Story.
It's a big taking down Scott Farkas energy.
All right.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Scott Farkas kind of dressed like Dermot. Yeah. Scott Farkas was one of the OG Dermots.
Yeah. Huge Dermot energy. Yeah.
But I love one of the little details about this is he's freaking out and he's beating him up and he's crying while he's doing it. Like snot is dripping from his face. Like he's very upset.
Yeah.
During this, like it's not an alpha move. Like this is pure animal rage.
which is what you should be afraid of. You do not want this. That's the kind of person you do not want hitting you because they will not stop.
Dude, like out of all the people on this show, Dean might be low key.
Oh yeah.
Like, the scariest because Dean is so tightly wound. When Dean snaps, you're lucky if he has sex with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you're Hank. Like,
I don't think we fully sold how shitty Dermot's move was because it came in right after Triana told Dean that she thought he was cute for the first time.
Yes.
And so he was riding a high until that guy comes by and mentally kicks him in the shin.
Yep. It was not the time, not the person. Yeah.
Dean's Triana arc is one of my favorites because we go into season 4 with the Better Man, which is one of my favorite episodes. Or that doesn't happen in the Better Man. That's the Orpheus one during the where he tells him to fuck you, the prom thing where he's talking to the outrider.
Oh yeah.
Really good. That's one of my favorite moments in the show.
Yeah. I also love Brock doesn't let anyone stop Dean. He's like, hey, they're just kids. Come on.
Hey, just kids. Let them work it out. He's so happy about it. Really good.
This problem solved itself.
Yeah. Very, very good. Dr. Z says that child is a spinning murder top.
Are you sure he's your son?
Sergeant Hatred shows up. This was actually Sergeant Hatred's first written appearance in the season. He appeared earlier in this, but this is the first time they wrote him.
Yes.
Appeared with his henchmen who just jump out and 2 guys with flamethrowers just set fire to one bush. It's really good. And Brock, who has been frustrated all day, decides to take this out on one of these
getting blood on the rented mummy Yeti suit. Yeah.
Real good moment. Hatred comes out and all the kids run up and start kicking him. He's like, you can't do good Sergeant Hatred material.
Yeah, but it just and a more good Sergeant Hatred material. Just like all of the paperwork and stuff on this, like, we got to get on the same page here. I'm just pulling a Moses on some shrubs. It's rock bottom henching, and it was an AM/PM mix up. He thought that the A was just a really fancy P on the schedule. And also, I just love that there's just a shared calendar that they have.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
Printed.
I'm just going to send you an invite for your next arching. Could you just look that over? And
very, very sweet. Also, if he was going to show up at 5:30 a.m., that would have sucked as well.
Well, everybody be asleep.
He says, ask the boys where they want to get chow on the way home. I'm looking for lentil soup. See maybe from Aubon Pain. I didn't know what Aubon Pain was.
So it's an airport bread and soup place. It's like an airport Panera.
It's owned by Panera.
Is it?
It's a weird thing. I was very in the pocket for almost every reference in this episode except for that restaurant.
Okay.
That I had to look up.
We're talking airport only. You can't ever find one of these outside an airport, or just most people are going to encounter one?
I've only ever seen one in an airport, and I got a very disappointing bagel at one.
I think that from my research, I think they are available outside of airports, but it's airport quality.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Airport quality at land prices.
When you're really craving the taste of the Mile High.
Yeah.
Some lentil soup would punish right now, though. I fucking love lentil soup.
I like lentil soup a lot too. I thought it was a weird thing for Sergeant Hatred to just be craving.
It's funny.
Food,
it's
soup.
It's a nice. You wouldn't expect it. Just I got hankering for some lentil soup.
It's real good.
Yeah.
I will fuck up some lentils.
But he's not going to go. He's got to put the lentils on hold. He's delighted to see Dr. Z. He's a fanboy. He's geeking out.
Yep. And this is again Doc Hammer, so the episode just ends.
Right,
like we're done
right.
with all the stuff. So
little photo montage, like your best day ever. Yeah,
it's very cute. This photo montage of everyone taking pictures. It seems like a very successful camp based on these,
except for all the people who are hurt or dying.
Yeah, just that one kid, and that kid turns out okay.
Does he?
Yeah, we'll see.
After he gets potty trained.
Okay.
Yeah, in the post, he prevented getting cancer.
Okay, all right.
He came out on top. Like, none of these other kids got cancer.
He came out of a jar.
Yes.
$200 for cancer treatment, Cole.
Okay, all right, okay.
It's very cheap. You could break bad for less. The parents show up. This is where Pete shows up, and all the times until I watched the commentary, I was like, "What's Pete doing here?"
Yeah,
and I found out what Pete's been doing. The boys' parents show up, and Rusty walks out with a clone slug. He looks fucking repulsive.
Yeah,
he looks like the student in the back of the class when Billy was taking Phantom Limbs.
He does, yeah.
Class, like shaking burn victim.
Yeah. No eyelids? Yeah.
Yeah, just really repulsive.
And they asked, like, oh, what happened to him? Oh, we shaved his head for the sack race. Aerodynamics, you see. And then when he won, we poured plasma over him.
Victory plasma.
But yeah, he cloned the kid from some of the blood off of the shoe that Billy ran out with. And of course, he monkeyed around with the genome to make sure that he would not get sick later on. So, I guess if Gwen and Gary are to be believed, then this is good. So
yeah, I would prefer not to have a cancer.
Yes,
in a kid.
Yeah,
you can see kind of why Doc was doing this so lightly too. It's because he's done it with his own kids so many times.
Yeah.
Right. Like to him, this is no big deal. Like they are Hank and Dean. You do the same DNA, same memories. They are Hank and Dean.
Yeah.
Like it's to him, this is no difference.
Yeah. No soma existential anxieties. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dermot, I love this bit with Dermot where he's talking about like short and sassy shampoo, and they took it off the market because if you combine it with Retsin, which is the active ingredient in Certs, you get napalm.
Which I mean, everybody's Dermot was either like way into quoting the explosive recipes from Fight Club, or they were big into the Anarchist Cookbook. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Retsin, because it was very weird of Certs to really try to make a star out of Retsin.
Yeah. Hey, you got to have your angle. No other mint had Retsin.
There's no other mint that I knew would have had anything. Like it's real weird that I knew about Retsin awareness was through the fucking roof, and I don't know why.
They're toasted, Gary.
I'm coming from this from complete ignorance. Certs, I'm assuming, is some other kind of hair care product.
No, it's a mint.
It's like a breath mint. Yeah.
And it advertises itself largely as being made of Retsin.
100%. Like the entire purpose of Certs commercials were to say it has Retsin.
Yeah, which is a trademark for a trademark name for a mixture of copper glutenate, partially hydrogenated cottonseed soil, and flavoring. What is copper glutenate? Look at this.
I don't know.
It's a dietary supplement to treat copper deficiency.
Okay.
Do you not have enough copper in your system?
Try these mints.
Yeah.
It was a really weird time. At the same time I was seeing all the Certs commercials, which are really surreal, was also the halls of medicine.
Okay.
You folk knows those, or am I being old?
That might have come slightly before me.
You're talking about Hall's the mint, the like
cough drop.
Hall's. Okay, so Hall's cough drops, and they had commercials about the halls of medicine,
which were like a guy, a clearly strung out man, like in a business suit with like his tie loosened, like he's had a really scary day, running through gigantic hallways made of halls.
Oh God.
And it's like, welcome to the halls of medicine. And it looked like he got fucking mazed.
Yeah, I was going to say, did the Lady of Pain send him there?
Extremely like that. Like the mint commercials, because also when we had Ricola, like the mint cough drop commercial wars of the late 80s and early 90s were incredible.
Well, and then extending over to the York peppermint patty ones, where you take a bite out of it and you're fucking whisked to the top of a mountain to die of exposure.
You get teleported, or you get ice breath.
Yeah.
There's also ones where your breath becomes like freezing. Like you get superpowers from a York peppermint.
It just
patty.
doesn't seem worth it to me.
No.
The advertising landscape was very much like a battlefield in the 90s. I never really thought of it like that.
It's also, man, York peppermint patties are like when you want some candy, but you also want to eat some toothpaste.
I love. I can't get on board with that. I'm a big mint candy, mint chocolate guy.
I like York peppermint patties too, but they're so toothpaste like.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they have a lot in common with toothpaste. Like it's about as close as you can get to toothpaste, and still have
without being
food.
poison. Yeah.
Man, you really trick some kids into eating toothpaste to get some chocolate.
Yeah, you'll die. Like you're not supposed to do that. You get really sick if you eat toothpaste.
How much of it do you think you can eat before it kill a kid?
I mean, how much do they weigh?
2.5.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you saying how much is a lethal dose, or how much could they get in them before they die? Because you know.
Wait, which one are you saying is going to be larger?
How much you can get in them before they die? Because like you could be doomed, but still shoving the toothpaste in.
Oh, sure, that's true.
Yeah, you're not going to die instantly.
I'm not talking about making a human toothpaste. But, like,
I'm just saying they're very different numbers.
A kid into eating non-food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
I don't think about it. If any doctors listen to the show, hook me up.
We have some experiments we want to run. If anybody knows how to write grant proposals.
Okay, wait. I did actually look this up because I was curious. But there apparently, if you get fluoride based toothpaste, like if that's a core ingredient, the amount of fluoride in that tube would kill a child.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Because they make it taste good.
They do. I had toothpaste that tasted like bubble gum when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. It seems like they shouldn't get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it taste like poison.
It's probably really weird that kids have candy flavor in general.
Yeah. Maybe. You got to trick them into doing, I don't know.
Why though? Like, what is the Dimetap where it tastes like the most delicious beverage they don't make?
And nothing will ever taste that good again? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah. Anyway.
Active ingredient certs, which is Retsin.
Dermot's mom pulls up. He's like, oh, take it sleazy. He gets in and she asks, did you meet him? He says, yeah, he's okay, I guess. Are you sure he's my father? And then that's the cutaway. Again, leading us to believe that Brock is the daddy.
Well, there are people also who don't listen or don't watch the show who listen to the show because they like us. Yeah. Dermot looks more like Brock than Doc.
He does.
He's got blonde hair.
Dirty blonde hair, super greasy at the end.
Yeah.
Big dude.
Yeah. He's not like fat. He's just very broad, right? Yeah. And we get post credits. We get the Moppets being, creeps because they're fully grown men. Dr. Mrs. the girlfriend is hugging them, saying, "Oh, you did such a good job." And they're like, "We like hugging mommy. We like hugging mommy in a new costume." Yeah.
It feels like that's one of the things about the Moppets I don't care for because I feel like Dr. Girlfriend would be wise to that.
Yes.
It was enough, I think, if they had treated her kind of like a mother figure. But
yeah.
No,
but they're treating her like Lady Dimitrescu. It's a sex mommy now.
It's a little horned.
Yeah.
And I prefer my Dr. Girlfriend to be really hyper competent.
Yes.
So kind of a nothing ending for me, but other than the Monarch stuff in this, which is still fine. Mm-hmm. Everything else I think is actually operating like A+ though.
Yeah.
Like super, super good. Any wrap up thoughts?
Gwen?
I can imagine a version of this show where they decided that Dermot was Brock's kid, because there is a fun dynamic there where his just energy, his complete energy, is just so antithetical of everything that Brock thinks a person should be. Mm-hmm. That could have been a good version of the show, but I am ultimately glad that he turns out to be Rusty's kid. He's Hank and Dean's half brother, and he's just one more. What do you call those things in Dark Souls 2? The wheels. know what I'm saying? The map.
Spoke. Yeah.
Another spoke of the Venture Brothers family.
Cycles. It's also one of the things we talked about this a little bit in the Slack. The episode where they reveal that with Dr. Venture, like incredibly gross.
Yeah.
For him to father Dermot, of course. Mm-hmm. Also, like a little bit, like I don't want to get the reputation on this show. The guy with
God, Gary,
with sympathy for sex past.
Gary, if you have to.
However,
I need to save you from yourself.
when he's like, it sucks that he does it. There's a big power imbalance.
Yes.
Right. And you don't have sex with children. But when he's like, I didn't cart her, I have a little bit of sympathy for Doc during that moment. Like somebody comes on to him. He has this shitty childhood. He's always thought of himself as this like big man on campus. And somebody comes along and like reinforces all of those notions. Mm-hmm. And he's got the exact blinders on where he's not going to realize, like, of course this person does. They're my fan club.
Yeah.
Like it's not that I think it's like, I think that is damning. It just reads as dramatically sound, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
I mean, it is another way in which he is a bad person and he has something fundamentally missing from him because of the way that he came up, right? And
yes.
that is a depiction that is dramatically sound. Yeah, nobody. If you are going to interpret that as like what happened there is good, I would encourage you. To act in better faith than that.
That's not what I mean.
Yeah,
it's on the same cadence or the same kind of trajectory of me of like the show spends a lot of time being like Doc is the worst fucking person and then softening it kind of over the course of the series by showing how horrible his childhood is and showing a lot of other people who, this is also a show with all the other like sidekicks and Action Johnny and everybody who's lived this life and how they've developed. And ultimately, like, I think showing Doc as this person who has moments of goodness, but is pretty static and pretty shitty. And then contrasting him with the boys in the last season, which are like literally going on to become their own people and developing things, is like the moment of hope you see in the show almost.
Yeah. That there's not going to be a straight up repetition. There's not going to be a repeat of these of these mistakes. It's important, I think, when you're talking, in real life and about representations of stuff in media, to understand that there is a distinction between an excuse and an explanation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's dramatically sound and interesting to me.
Yeah.
Even if it is something that's shitty and unexcusable.
Yeah.
Gary, just to back you up a little bit, I agree. It is very sympathetic, and the Doc, like, he did the bad thing. He didn't do the worst thing. I think that's the big moment for him.
Yeah.
He supports the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's implied also I think a lot of it is the performance sells it during that episode where James Urbaniak is like, I didn't fucking know, and it's like, you should have known, but a crime of not doing your due diligence is less odious than willfully being malicious, even if they're both really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I again, not trying to get the sex pest defender achievement. Yeah. In this between liking Doc and Sergeant Hatred.
Well, I think Captain Sunshine is actually a great role model for.
The Captain Sunshine stuff is really interesting because the creators like went out of their way to be like, that's not actually what we meant, and even I'm like,
come on, you were doing a Michael Jackson thing. We all saw it.
Yeah, we saw it, buddy. It's like I understand why you're trying to get out of it now.
You can't have it both ways there. Sorry.
Yeah. But that episode also has the Action News team that has Ghost Robot in it, which is fucking incredible. Like, it's so good. I love it. And the like 1 minute long commercial for a helicopter in the middle of that episode. That episode's still very funny.
Yeah.
But Venture Brothers, you're gonna get a little bit of mid 2000s Cal Mustation humor in there.
Yep.
Anywho, Gwen, where can people find you online?
You can listen to every episode of Orb and sing along to the beautiful theme song I wrote. I don't have anything yet. I should have made that website like I said last time, but maybe next time.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're a fixture in the community, so when you get the website out and when you have more stuff to say, people will find you and people will know.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Also, Slack. Be on Slack. Slack is great. The Ventured Bros channel is great. And you know what? Just a shout out to my favorite corner of the Slack, Everything to Guppy. That's a great channel to be in.
Oh, I'm excited. That is a fun time. Let us know, regardless of whether you're on the show, when you get that website out, and we'll plug it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, as for us, you can go to patreon.com/DuckFeed.tv. Yeah. And you can leave us ratings or reviews on Apple Podcast if you like.
Yeah, at that Patreon, you get episodes of the show a week early. And tell your friends if you can too. If you know people who like the Venture Brothers, cue them in to this. But I think we should sign off by saying, "Go Team Venture."